Alright, hey YouTube, this is Firefist Hayes here, come to you talk about retail. This is my first video, so hopefully I don't make too many mistakes straight away, but we'll get better as we go along. So, let's get started. So, I got the idea from another YouTuber called The Odd Ones Out. I like his videos, they're pretty funny. But, link in the description of it's just talking about his experience in the shop Subway or Subway. Yeah, anyway, I've only worked in one retail store in my life, but let's just hope it's the last. We'll call it Jesco. Yes, Jesco, that's fine. So when I first started working there, it was my first job, so I was like, oh yeah, it's pretty cool, everyone's really friendly, everyone's really nice, the customers, they're like all talking nice to you, and they're all like, oh yeah, it just seems like quite cool, it's a new environment, especially if it's your first job. I remember one lady, I'll never forget it. She was my favorite customer. She was like, oh, you're the greatest asset in the store, they're lucky to have you. I was like, oh. It just makes you feel really nice, when you get compliments like that from complete strangers, but, it still makes you feel quite happy. But, so being new there, I was, I was working quite hard, because, that's what you want to do. You want to try and contribute. It's your new job. You're excited to, get started and all of that. I always did overtime. Every time they asked me, I always stayed extra. I came in on my days off. There were some days I was even working like 7 days a week, which is utter ludicrous now that I know better. But yeah, sometimes it was 7 days a week, and eventually it got so much that I had to say no. So I had to say, I can't do another day. I'm sorry. But yeah, now that I think about it, the day I said no to staying overtime, I think that's the time it's all started to go downhill. Alright, so let's talk a little more about my store. It's a pretty small store, it's a metro, but it's quite small. It's in central London though, so it gets quite busy. Even though it was a small store, I think it had way too many managers. Like, I think there was like 8 managers or something. There was, there's as many managers as there were like regular sales assistants, so I don't know what's going on there. But I don't know. Store managers, decision to do that, whatever. So let's talk a little bit about my, section. Let's stick with the sales part side of it. So first of all, of course, we have the manager, the sales manager. Yeah, I won't use her real name, so let's just call her Big Mama. Yeah, so we have Big Mama, and then under her we have, for the most part, 3 supervisors. I won't use their real names either, so let's just call them A-hole number 1, A-hole number 2, and the cool guy. So, and then the other sales assistants, which, my colleagues, the same rank as I was. And the higher ups and stuff, like the store manager and the assistant head manager, but I rarely spoke to those, so I won't really talk about them too much. Okay, let's start with the manager. She was terrible. Like, oh my god, like, she was the manager of the till, but she was never on the till. You would never see her in the like customer section, like where they're paying for their, around the tills. You would never see her there. You would always see her stacking the shelves on the shop floor, and you're just like, you're manager of the tills, you're supposed to be with us, not, stacking the shelves. And oh my god, it was just so bad. She was just never there. And whenever you would go to her with a problem, you'd be like, oh, I don't know, say something like, oh, can I have a holiday here? She would just say, oh, go talk to A-hole number 1. She never helped anything, and she didn't know how to use anything either. The times when she actually had to use the till, like somebody, her manager, actually told her, that it's a bit busy, you get on the till. She didn't even know what to do. She was like, you know, when I was using the till next to her, she was like, "Oh, you know, Hazy, how do I do this, man?" I was like, "Don't you know? You're the manager." I'm like, she's like, "Oh, I don't know. A-hole number one, come over here and do this." I'm like, "You're the manager. You're supposed to know these things." Oh man, she was just terrible. She didn't know what she was doing. Okay, so up to her, we have the 3 supervisors. So let's start with a-hole number 1. There's only one thing I can say about him, and that is short staff. Seriously, that is like the only thing he knew how to say. He was like, it doesn't matter what you asked him, that was his only response. You're like, "Hey, can I have a holiday?" Short staff. Can I tie my shoelace here? Short staff. Do you know where this goes? Short staff. You have big feet. Yeah, short staff. You know, it was just ridiculous. You were just there like, well, that doesn't make any sense. And like, oh my god, I don't even know how he got accepted into that role of supervisor. That interview must have just been ridiculous. But yeah. So anyway, I remember one time. This is how ridiculous he was. A customer came in and he basically came up to him and said, I bought these sweets and basically I want a refund for it. I don't have the receipt though, and I don't have the sweets either. You know, so, and he just said, okay. It was so bad. I was like, literally, he had nothing. He didn't have a receipt, the sweets, a wrapper, nothing. You know, he just literally was walking to the store and said, I bought this £10 thing. I don't have it, but I don't know, it was off or something. I need my money back, sorry. And he just gave him £10 out the Oh my god, like, it was just so bad. It was terrible. I was just like, he was just something else. Okay, let's move on to a-hole number 2. This is the no help guy. So it doesn't matter what your problem is, he will not help with it. You know, like, you can go up to him, oh, I have a doctor's appointment, I can't make, this day, can I, do something about this? Ask someone else. There's a refund, can you do this? Ask someone else. The customer wants to speak to a supervisor, ask someone else. You're just there like, dude, what do you do? Like, he's just constantly running away from people. I mean, the only thing I can say is, like, I guess that he must have had, like, a bad experience one time, and, like, he did something and to help someone, and he got in trouble for it, and, like, that just puts him off of doing anything now. That's the only explanation I have for just the way he acts sometimes. It's just too ridiculous. Okay, so now let's go to the cool guy. I have absolutely nothing bad to say about the cool guy. He was awesome. He was always helpful. He understood where you were coming from. If you had a problem, he would listen and help you with it. If you had a doctor's appointment, he would, be a supervisor. He'd be like, okay, well, if you can't make this day, can you make up your hours this time? Something, compromise, something to compromise. The other two were just absolutely hopeless. He was literally the only person you could talk to. He was just cool, man. As long as you didn't take the mick or anything like that, you were fine. And, I didn't take the mick out of him, so, me and him got on just fine. So let's talk about some other colleagues. Of course, I'd say there was roughly about 8 people switching in and out throughout the day. But for the most part, it was a mixed bag. Some people were really nice, because, we're all in the same spot. I guess they all kind of felt like they were all just being ignored and, like, not helped and just kind of being thrown to the wolves kind of thing, because it's like, well, to tell you a bit more about how the store kind of worked, basically a-hole number 1 and a-hole number 2, they worked the afternoons, and the cool guy mostly did the mornings. So if you were, happened to have afternoon shifts, you were basically screwed. You might as well just, you'll be miserable. But if you had the mornings, you'd be pretty cool. Unfortunately, most of my shifts were in the afternoon, so I was stuck with a-hole number 1 and a-hole number 2. Oh my god. And it got to the point where some colleagues, they just didn't even, you could just see on their faces, they just did not care, man. Like, some customers would come to them and be like, oh, can you, show me where this is? And they just look at them like, no. And just just keep it moving, man. Just keep it moving. Oh my god. But yeah, it was, I guess this working there, I guess it'll do that to you, when you're just constantly being ignored and constantly just, not being helped and just kind of, just in a bad environment altogether, really. So let's talk about the customers. Oh my god. The customers. Some people, I don't understand, some people are just crazy. I can't work in a job anymore where I have to deal with the general public. I don't think I can anymore. Like, the job I'm in now, I basically I only help a specific company, so if you're not part of that company, I can't help you. But, if you're in retail, basically anyone just fell off the street, you have to come and serve them, basically. And, being in central London, we had loads of people coming in, loads of characters. Let me just tell you about some of my favorites. We had the homeless guy. Yeah, he liked to come in all the time. I understand he's homeless and everything, but oh my god. He came in and the whole store would just smell really badly. I understand he's homeless. I do, but oh my god. He just walked in and it was almost like he was just killing the laid out flowers that were just as he was walking by. Oh my god, it was just so bad. Yeah, and it was just really bad, especially since when he came in and he was giving, he had to give pennies to pay for all his food, so he would come with a mountain of pennies, and you'd have to count the pennies and put it in the till, and the pennies smelled bad, and you would have to wash your hands, and it'd even be worse if you had a-hole number 1 or a-hole number 2, watching a supervisor, because you'd be like, oh, can I go wash my hands? And they'd be like, no. You'd just be like, oh, screw you, and you just go anyway. But still, there was one guy who, oh my days, I don't even know. He was, he was just some kind of weird person. So let me set the scene. He comes in and he he puts his food, I scan it, put it in the bag. Fine, I give him the bag, it's time to pay. He takes out his money and just drops it on the counter. And he just, keeps taking out money and keeps dropping it on the counter. And I'm like, okay, cool. I think that's rude because, I put out my hand, just put the money in the hand, but that's another thing. I was just like, okay, whatever, I'll just take the money, put it in the till. No harm, no foul. But when I went to go do that, I picked up the money and, I was about to put it in the till. He was like, excuse me, don't touch my money. I was like, sorry? Oh, sorry, I didn't know. Well, if you don't mind, could you just levitate your money into the till for me? Well, I didn't know Houdini was, your long-lost brother or something, I was like, what do you want me to do right here? And he was like, oh, I'll just pay with card. Oh, this is just unacceptable. Oh, my God. Terrible. Do you have any idea who I am? I own a house and a wife. What? It was so funny. Even my colleague and the guy that she was serving next to us, he was just looking at this guy okay, don't mess with him. He's got a wife and a house. Oh god, oh man, it was just bad.